Hey everybody, welcome back to Happily Hester After. Ariel here and I am pregnant. I feel like I need to start every video off like that. Hey guys, welcome back to Happily Hester Pregnant. No, but I'm squeezing into everything. Every time I talk to somebody, I'm pregnant. But anyway, y'all, I am so excited for today's vlog because if you saw the last one from week 5, then you know that I was telling you all about the experiences that I was having. And I wanted to go more into it with this one because week 6 was crazy. So if you haven't seen the week 5 video yet, make sure you go and watch it because I am continuing from there. I'm not going to start over. Anybody got time for that? Because I don't want this video to be super long like that one was. So anyway, like I said, on Saturday after I left from work, I just rested and I was like, I'm not getting out of my bed. I'm just going to lay here and that's it. And I actually noticed that the bleeding kind of slowed down a little bit. Like it did. It slowed down a little bit. So I was like, yay. So then, you know, Sunday I had church. That was fine. And what I did was, at this point, I come to realize that I obviously am going to have to put myself on some type of bed rest because the doctor obviously at that point was not going to do it. So I took off of work. I ended up actually taking off of work for that whole week until Friday. I went back to work on Friday. So I was off from Tuesday of week 5 until Friday of week 6. So I was off for a minute just resting because my thing was this: I'm not going back to work until I stop bleeding. And that is exactly what I told my managers at both jobs. I was like, so I am pregnant and I am not coming back to work until I stop bleeding because no, I've waited too long for this to allow anything to mess it up. And what I noticed was literally every time that I would rest and just not move, like stay in bed all day, the bleeding would stop. But then as soon as I would get up and start trying to move around, it would start again. So this is what happened. I stopped bleeding on Monday. It was done. I was like, okay, yeah. And on Tuesday, I was like, I'm gonna go to work. So I got up and started getting my stuff together and literally looked down and checked my pad and I was bleeding. And I was like, well, never mind that. So I didn't go. And I forgot to mention in the last video, actually, on that Saturday that I had left work, I think I forgot to mention it. When I said I was bleeding and cramping, I was also passing clots. I passed clots throughout this whole, from Saturday until, I want to say I stopped bleeding on like Thursday I think I had like a little bit of spotting, but I stopped like bleeding on like Wednesday, and I was passing like clots. And on Saturday I had passed this really big one and I was like, oh my gosh, like I was on nerve. That's why I went home. I was like, no, I gotta go, because I had seen it as soon as I got to work. I had checked my pad and I saw it, and as soon as I saw it I was like, nope, I gotta go, see you later, cannot compute. So and yeah, so I was passing some clots during this time, but you know, I've read about plenty of pregnancies where that happens, so I was not, you know, gonna worry about it. But I also was not going to go to the doctor because, as you can see, just from, you know, the level falling, not even falling all the way, the woman immediately jumped to the worst possible conclusion, not even considering the fact that I have a polyp that may have been causing me to bleed, not even considering the fact that, you know, my uterus is tilted, not even considering the fact that I could have had a vanishing twin, you know. And that was my whole thing. Like, it wasn't, oh hey, I see that you're bleeding and your number is starting to drop a little bit, let's come in and you know, let's take a look and see what's going on. But it was, oh well, this is what's happening. That's what I didn't appreciate. But anyway, I'm not gonna go back. That's over, that's done with. Back to week 6. So yes, week 6 was basically my bed rest week, and actually, like I said, the bed rest, it actually did help a lot. I noticed that the longer I stayed in bed, the more I stayed off of my feet, the bleeding would stop. It was like the baby and my body were literally telling me like, girl, calm down, like stop. And I listened because I was like, I've waited too long for this. I am going to, you know, it's my job to protect this little babe. So, you know, I need to do what I got to do. And you know, that was pretty much my attitude towards the whole thing, because, you know, the devil was trying to make me nervous about like, oh, you don't want to miss too much work. But then I was like, you know what, girl, this is your baby. You know, you gotta, this is their life. Like, this is a whole life that's on the line here. So no. But anyway, let's move on to the fun part of the video. Let's move on to the symptoms. Week 6, I had the bleeding, of course, cramping, what are they called, clots. I want to say I stopped bleeding on like Wednesday-ish. Yeah, and I had a little bit of like spotting, but it was pretty much done, and the cramping had stopped by, I want to say, Wednesday too. And then I also had headaches. I still had those headaches, still had fatigue, still had heartburn. My breasts were tender. So my breasts were tender week 6 and week 5. Forgot to mention that. Sorry. That's why y'all need to make sure y'all watch all of them, because I just be remembering stuff. Like, that's why I try to write it down on the little app, but I guess I missed that part. So yeah, my breasts were definitely tender, like to the touch. Like my nipples were tender to the touch. And then I had the back pain. The back pain was really bad week 6, actually. Like, I couldn't get comfortable. I would be laying down and I still couldn't get comfortable, and I'd have to put a bunch of pillows under me, and I would still just be like, I'm laying down, but it still hurts my back. And I was just sad. So I definitely had a lot of that, and that's pretty much it that I see on here. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. And I've also been having sensitivity to smell, and that's been throughout all the weeks. Just like I wouldn't say that it's one of those, as soon as I smell something I go throw up, but it'll be like one time, I can't remember if it was week 5 or week 6, we went to McDonald's, and as soon as we pulled up, that grease hit me, and I was like, oh my god. Like, what's that? Or like I went to the bathroom in a Walmart one time, and I was like everything just feels, the smells just feel intensified, and I'm just like, so but yeah, definitely not like throwing up. I don't think I've thrown up at all throughout the pregnant. No, actually I did. So this is gonna sound really weird, but this is a pregnancy vlog, so you should be expecting it. But throughout, especially those first 2 weeks, weeks 5 and 6, I started to get very regular, you know, like number 2. Like before I actually wasn't that regular at all. It's a good thing, you know. So but I've gotten very regular. Like, I just go. And so what happened was, one day during, I can't remember if I think it was week 5. No, it was week 6, because it was when I was bleeding. One of those days I was doing number 2, and I was just sick. Like, I think I was cramping too, and I had my husband, I was like, honey, you have to bring me a bag right now. And he brought the bag to me, you know, like in the bathroom and everything, and I literally just everything I ate, and it was the watery kind. So I did throw up that once, but it wasn't because I smelled anything. It was because I was sick from all of the cramping. But yeah, the most I get when it comes to morning sickness is nausea, and you know, it's kind of here nor there. It happens every once in a while. Normally I just try to make sure I stay fed so that it doesn't happen to me very much. So yes, so that's pretty much it in terms of symptoms. I let you all know what happened with the bleeding and everything. Thank you Jesus, it stopped. By Thursday I was down to like occasional brown spotting, and it was really like a little bit in the morning, and then it stopped. And I went back to work, and then I didn't start bleeding again after I went back to work, so I was like, yay, this is great. Went to work on Friday, but I still didn't go on Saturday, just to make sure that I wasn't, you know, getting ahead of myself. So yay for that, bless the Lord. Week 6, the verse of the week is going to be, here it is: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 17. That is important because during that week it was so hard for me, just spiritually. The enemy was just having a field day. He was just attacking left and right, all these negative thoughts, just trying to remind me of the last time I was pregnant, just trying to, you know, make me think the worst, just trying to make me believe what that doctor was saying to me. And it was a battle spiritually, but I had to declare and decree to myself, and we were declaring and decreeing at church, that no weapon formed against me will prosper. The enemy is obviously coming after our child, but he will not be successful. He will not, you know, harm this child. We had to, I've been praying over my womb, and just keeping in the word, and praying, and just declaring and decreeing that no weapon will prosper, and speaking life into my womb. So Yes. That is the verse of the week. I told you all about my symptoms. I told you all about the situation with the bleeding and that thankfully stopping. And you know, when I'm talking about it, it may sound like nothing to some people, but it was very hard for me. It was very hard. So I want to encourage the rest of you women out there, if you are pregnant or end up becoming pregnant or were pregnant or whatever, and you were concerned about that, you are not the only one, girl. And you know what, just stay positive. When doctors come after you and they start saying crazy stuff, trying to just speak negativity, you do not have to accept it. You do not have to condone it. You do not have to continue to go to a doctor that makes you feel uncomfortable. You do not have to continue going to a doctor that is consistently negative, and just, you know, you don't have to go to a doctor like that. And you know, I feel like my biggest thing with that situation, just going back to it for just a minute, because my biggest thing with that situation is that when I lost my first child, I was 19 years old, and all I knew was what the doctors were telling me. All I knew was that. And I couldn't imagine being like a 19-year-old again, or you know, an 18-year-old again, and I'm pregnant for the first time, and I don't know what's going on with my body. I don't know anything about my uterus. I don't know anything about Apollo. I don't know anything about anything. And as soon as something looks negative, not that the number had dropped all the way, or not even if the number was consistently rising and I started bleeding and they started speaking like that, I couldn't imagine what I would think. So that's my only thing, especially for those of you that are young like that, or that have never had any type of experience like that. Just know that the doctor's word is not final. God's word will prevail, and God's promises will come to pass. What man says does not matter. In fact, there was a verse in here, Romans chapter 3 verse 4, let God be true and every man a liar. With God, even if we go back to the word for 5 weeks, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. God has the power to speak life into any situation, anything, and any person. God is the one who speaks life into your womb. The doctors can try to speak death all they want to, but you do not have to accept it, and you do not have to believe it, because God can and will make a way and let his will come to pass. So I just wanted to give you all that encouragement. I'm gonna stop yakking now, because I've pretty much run out of things. I told you all pretty much everything. Oh, let me give you all, I don't think I did a bump shot for week 6. Oh well, I definitely have one for week 7 though, so make sure that at this point, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't hit that bell button yet, go ahead and do those things so that you can receive notifications whenever we post a new video, and so that you can see the week 7 bump pick. Woohoo! Yay! Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that it has helped anybody in any way. And listen, if it has, please comment below. We love reading your comments. We may not always respond, but we always try to leave a like or a heart and be like, oh, that's so sweet. So definitely comment if you have had a difficult pregnancy or a difficult beginning to pregnancy, and you know, you want to offer some encouragement. That would be great to leave in the comments as well, because I know like the main thing that got me through everything that I was going through weeks 5 and 6 were, you know, God, of course, but also being able to go online and go on Baby Center and go on the different pregnancy forums and read about people who had just crazy pregnancies, like pregnancies that made mine seem like, girl, boo, you fine. So definitely leave those encouraging stories below. I'm sure that it will help somebody else. So anyway, y'all, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope y'all have an absolutely blessed and wonderful day, and Lord willing, I will see y'all next time. Bye.